You are listening to the Not Another Sports podcast. Here are your hosts, David and Jason.
Welcome to the Not Another Sports podcast, episode 8. This is the home of sports talk for everyone. I'm David.
I'm Jason.
Welcome aboard. So, it seems like an ongoing topic before we even get into the main ones is Jason's fantasy football.
Yay.
And how much he actually hates it and loves to rage quit.
It's the same topic. I mean, it's the same discussion as last week, or last episode, I should say. Doesn't seem like
you want to throw something out the window?
No, it's just my team is riddled with injuries. I can't, and I know I'm not the only one dealing with it, thank God. So there's others who feel my
from
pain.
The Ravens, do you?
No, the missus does. She has their quarterback who tested positive. So now I will say, going into my matchup in my office league, I'm projected to win by 12 points. So we'll see what happens. Deshaun Watson put up 44 points for me yesterday, so I have no complaints about that. I'm not even talking about my 2 quarterback league at this point. That's just a lesson in futility. But
well, hey, what can you do? At least you didn't have the Ravens players at all.
I don't think I have any Ravens players. There's certain teams I just try not to draft people from, just because you know how their systems are. If I was going to take anything from the Ravens, it'd probably be their defense right now. But even with their record this year, I dodged a bullet with that. They're 6-4. I purposely do not draft any Eagles because I just think there's nothing but bad juju with the Eagles. Dallas, I try to stay away from as well, simply because, again,
it's Dallas.
Yeah, I'm not going to pick people from teams who have really bad play systems. So I try to stick with certain teams.
Well, I don't think Stanford did much for you. Or
Stafford?
Stafford.
Yeah, Stafford's in my 2 quarterback league, and yeah, he didn't do anything. But he went against the Texans, and Watson's in my office league, and he did well. So that's good, part bad. The worst thing about my season is going into the season, Juju Smith-Schuster was the number 1 wide receiver in the draft. He was the highest ranked wide receiver. He was an easy first-round pick. I took him as my number 1 pick, and because
biting in the ass.
He's still a good wide receiver for real-life football, but because the Steelers have gone to kind of a wide receiver by committee kind of deal because they have a lot of good options, and because he's been so willing to help other guys step up their game as wide receivers, he's like meaningless now in fantasy football. So my sure shot pick to do really great for me has done nothing.
Besides warming a bench.
Well, no, he's playing. He's more of like a third down threat than a field goal, goal line threat. Sorry. But hey,
fun times.
I've been doing this for 8-9 years, and this is really the worst season I've had. So I have overall, I shouldn't complain.
But what would be the fun in that?
There's people who play every year and they have god-awful teams every year. So,
and they probably complain every single year. Then you get those people who are those random drafts that they don't even pick. They just get people thrown into it and they do great.
People who auto-draft? Yeah, people who auto-draft suck. Now,
because they always do well.
I will say there's probably plenty of people who listen to this who are in fantasy leagues with me or who have been in fantasy leagues with me, and they can tell you that even when my team is good, I will bitch about my team because I absolutely have no faith in my team no matter how good they are.
Shocking. What?
No, it's true. I'm not going to lie about it. I was undefeated the one season in my office league, and I said to the guy, one of the people who listened to it, I said to him, you're going to beat me in the playoffs no matter what. So it doesn't matter. He goes, but you have the best record. I go, you have the most points. I go, it's going to end at some point for me. And it did.
Oh, there you go.
All right.
The fantasy football soapbox.
It's not a soapbox, just my views on fantasy football in general.
Well, since we mentioned the Steelers and some of their players, that seems like a good way to go into their first topic. The Steelers are 10-0. The question is, can they go all the way to having a perfect season? Now, a lot of Pittsburgh fans are probably hating us at this point because basically a jinx. It's just like you go to a hockey game and you yell the goalie's going to get a shutout. What normally happens? A goal goes in. But, we all love Pittsburgh here. Never mind. So can the Steelers go 10, can have a perfect season? They're already 10-0. Can they do it?
Well, so looking at the records of everyone they got to play yet, they are at some point going to play the Ravens in the near future. That could change. Who knows?
Whenever that's going to be.
The COVID Ravens. So the Ravens record right now is 6-4. The game after that, they play Washington, who are, if I had it up, I could tell you.
Washington, they're actually 4-7 since they won. I think it was Thursday night.
Okay.
Yeah, they beat Dallas.
Cleveland 7-3. The Colts are 7-3. The Bengals are 2-7. The Bills are 7-3. So there's a good chance they could do it based on the records of the teams they're playing. But now in any sport, any team can win on any given week. So you can't take anything for granted, especially in professional football where it's a schedule-wise, it's not long. It's not a long season compared to baseball, football, baseball, hockey, basketball. Football has a short season compared to other leagues. So every game is a must-win for the most part.
Well, the thing is, though, it doesn't matter what's your record going into, let's say, the playoffs, because how many times have we seen hockey teams go from just barely making all the way to the finals and winning? Right. Numerous times. So just because you win the top seed does not mean you're going to do much.
But comparatively, I mean, the NFL doesn't have a second season for their playoffs.
So, no, it's just, you win, you go home and just move on.
Right.
So
I mean, on paper, I didn't think this year's team was going to be. I figured they would be competing. I didn't think they'd be undefeated at this point in the season. But I mean, here's the thing: they have options at wide receiver, as I stated earlier. As always, they have a great defensive line. That's what Pittsburgh's always known for, is that Iron Curtain defense.
Yeah.
I'm actually, there's a part of me that does not believe this team's that good, knock on wood, because they are the Steelers, and the Steelers have a long history of really great teams. I don't know if they go undefeated, obviously this is going to be the greatest Pittsburgh team ever, but I find that I'm almost torn on it because they had teams with guys like Hines Ward and Troy Polamalu on them who are great players, and they lost games.
Exactly.
How is it this team is you know what I mean? There's a part of me that's like, wow, I can't believe that this is the Steelers team that's undefeated so far.
Well, it's just that chemistry. It's just that right group. I mean, yes, you have look at the Rangers back in the 90s. They had all these all-stars. Everybody expected them to win a Stanley Cup after 94 with all these, all-star players, but they couldn't do anything. So maybe this is what you need, a team full of not high all-star players, not high-end players, but players that gel better than having, because if you have a team of all-stars, everybody's thinking I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best. Even though you can barely work together with that. Here, if you have a team that, like, the Steelers this year so far, hey, what can I do to help you out? What can I do? Everybody helping each other to get to winning.
Right. And I think a lot of this also falls on the team mentality itself. I mean, Mike Tomlin, I would say Mike Tomlin's a great coach, and he's proven that how many times now. And I think he fosters a team atmosphere where it's team first. And I mean, look at the guys who were in that system, got full of themselves, and look at what happened when they left.
Not much.
Exactly. So
not much really
players benefit in this system. And for as much as I was getting on Juju Smith-Schuster for being crappy as a fantasy player this year, what he's doing for the team is so much more valuable, obviously, because he's helping a young guy like Chris Claypool come into his own as a wide receiver, and he's doing great stuff this year for this team. He's really stepping up. Juju is as a team leader, and that means a lot more overall than fantasy points does for some schlub in Williamstown.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So what he's doing, he went from being this. He still is a great wide receiver. He's now a great team leader, which is far more valuable than personal stats.
Well, like you said, there's those players who, well, like we discussed earlier with this, there's some players that are good third, fourth down players when you need that extra yardage, whether it be a receiver or running back, and there's your primary guys for the first and second downs.
Right.
Sometimes you do need that player who is good in the clutch to get that extra yardage needed to get a first down or to get the ball and get out of bounds quick. Those players who are good for short yardage. Now, who knows?
I'm a big proponent of having people in the locker rooms for in different sports as veterans, people who've been playing for years and have something to still contribute. So I like that the Steelers added Eric Ebron in the offseason this year as a tight end, because he brings veteran experience. He's a guy who was always in the mix everywhere he played. And I think he adds a really cool element to the team. As a tight end, he's basically another wide receiver. That's how he plays tight end. You can either be like a tight end who's really more of a blocker. You can be a tight end who's more of a wide receiver. He's a tight end who's more of a wide receiver. So that's yet another option for the Steelers to throw to. And he has a veteran experience to bring to that team as well. And it's those little things that you can do in the offseason to really bolster a team and the team's attitude.
Oh yeah. I mean, even with a tight end, like you just said, he's a receiver more than a blocker of a tight end. But also, to me, a tight end is one of those positions to where you're not there for long yardage. You're there for short yardage.
Right.
And look at I'm drawing a blank here. Kittle for San Francisco. Well, you don't like him?
No. In my other league, he was one of my top draft picks. And he's on the injured reserve right now. So it's been a crap season. Sorry.
Yeah. But he's one of those tight ends who he can catch, he can block, and he's a hell of a player.
He's a freaking beast. That's what he is.
Yes. I want to say he's more than a beast, but we'll go with that for this.
I would comparatively, I always like Greg Olsen as a tight end. And I see a lot, like Kittle's almost like Greg Olsen times 10.
Well, after what he did in the Saints game last year, where with a face mask, he basically still ran a good X amount of yardage while somebody tugging on his helmet. So,
yeah, he's
and
a
that
beast.
didn't even phase him. Exactly. Whether be blocking somebody, I mean, the way he blocks, it's like he'll make a hole for somebody to run through it. That's no question about that. But when you look at the history of going so far undefeated, the closest one that we've had so far was the Patriots back in 2007, when they went 18-0 and then lost in the Super Bowl. So that's the closest we've ever had to a perfect season. Now we've had teams go 13-0, 14-0.
Let's restate that. In our lifetimes, it's the closest we've seen.
Yeah, in our lifetimes. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because there's probably teams that
the
have
72 Dolphins are the ones who went undefeated.
Yeah, this is why we're talking about this, because of that. I mean, they've been, they have set that bar high to have that perfect season. They have set that to where it's not easy to go undefeated, well, just in any sport, whether it be for 10 games, even 5 games, it's hard to go undefeated for. And that's just any sport.
I think in some regards, while it's great to, obviously the big sports channels love talking about the undefeated streaks and the 72 Dolphins and all that. But I mean, if you're a real diehard sports fan, or if you're even just an educated sports fan, you understand that the game itself has changed so much since the Dolphins went undefeated.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Between rules and everything else, I mean,
right?
How right now you can't even tap somebody without getting a flag.
Right. There's a lot of concussion protocol, and for good reason. Let's not act like. I mean, we go on constantly about player safety with COVID, but that's. I mean, and the NHL is the same way. There's concussion protocol now.
Yeah.
It's looking out for these guys' future life after the game. Whereas in the 70s, guys were getting outright clotheslined for a tackle. They weren't even going for a tackle. They were just full on hooking the guy's head with a clothesline. So it's totally different sport now.
Are you speaking from experience with the clothesline thing?
Oh, that's a different sport.
Still, clothesline's a clothesline.
I was asked for a stoppage of play by any means. I did what I had to do on the field of battle. Anyway.
And then you have some idiot in the stands cheering it.
You were coming back from the snack bar.
And I was cheering? No, I was in the stands when I saw it.
You were coming back from the snack bar because you were walking towards. Okay, so in soccer, we're gonna.
I'm trying to remember the whole. I'm trying to remember here.
Okay, so when I was playing soccer, my coach may not have been a great coach by any means. He had a lot of flaws as a person. May or may not have been living in the school illegally at the time.
Jeez.
He asked
that I didn't know.
Yes, he was living illegally in the school and he was stealing food from the home ec fridge.
Jeez. That doesn't surprise me.
So anyway, I was asked to get a stoppage of play by any means necessary. The coach said, "I do not care how you do it. I want the play stopped." So I was on defense and the striker came running up to me and I clotheslined the shit out of him.
That was funny.
And I remember after I closed, because God, I turned the kid inside out.
Yes, you did.
I remember looking up,
flipping.
And you're rounding the corner from the end zone because we played on the football field. You're rounding the corner from the end zone, like approaching the bleachers, and I just see you jump up with your arms up. You're like, yeah.
You don't see that stuff in soccer. So when it happens, and you can't. I mean, don't get me wrong. Soccer is one of those sports to where if you tap somebody, they're flopping around like a fish, like you just shot them. But when you actually make somebody flop, that calls for a celebration because it's something that you couldn't fake that one. Because he literally just flew.
I apologized to the kid after the game. I felt pretty bad after I saw.
I wonder if he actually remembered that you apologized.
No, I hit him across the chest. I didn't hit him throat area.
Yeah, but when he landed,
I just worked tight, brother.
But yeah, that was funny. Oh, that was great. Now, with the talk of the 72 Dolphins going 17-0.
14-0. No, 17-0. Sorry.
17-0.
Yeah, sorry.
Now, you have teams that have gone with a total of like what do you classify as a perfect season? Like in all terms, the Patriots did have the record of because they went 18-0 at one point, but yes, they did lose to the Super Bowl.
I think for
but
the
they went
NFL's
18-0.
I think for the NFL's purposes, it's you have to win every game plus the Super Bowl. So because the Pats
season,
lost,
yeah,
because the Pats lost in the Super Bowl, it doesn't count.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, for a perfect season, yes.
Technically, yes. The Patriots had a 1 game longer undefeated streak than the Dolphins, but because they lost in the Super Bowl, the Dolphins are still considered the standard bearer of an undefeated season.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're going a complete season, yeah, I mean, but they went 18-0, but yes, they lost to the Super Bowl, which it seems like the Patriots just cannot beat the Giants.
Oh, and that mouth breather Eli that they had.
Yeah, but I mean,
God, he just looked stupid constantly. I mean, not like stupid like he made bad decisions constantly. I mean, like every time the camera would come on him in a game, he would look just dumb.
Well, he might have looked like he had gas and was trying to pass it. He could have tried to let one rip into, when he was on the field. Who knows?
It's like someone had to teach him how to blink.
I will never blink. But yeah, I mean, the closest one since then would have to be, I want to say, the 15 Panthers ended up going 14-0.
Overall 17-2.
Yeah, losing to the Super Bowl.
And their first loss was to the Falcons. So,
yep.
I
mean, right now the Steelers are going 10. And like we said earlier, it's never easy to go anywhere past 10 games undefeated.
Right. And I think this season going 10 games undefeated is pretty impressive when you consider all the teams that have had COVID issues, all the amounts of injuries teams have had. That's pretty remarkable this season that they're at this point 10-0.
Well, right now on the reserve list, they have 4 players on the COVID list. So it's just one of those things to where of all those injuries, like you just said, with everything going on, it is any team that's having a great season. It's kind of hard to believe because of one, their past. Like let's say the Bills, for starters, they never really had good seasons. So
not since the 90s.
No, yeah, especially when you go 4 Super Bowls in a row and lose.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's hard to I mean, how do you even do that when you go 4 Super Bowls in a row and can't win one?
That's almost.
I mean, you
don't want to say that falls on the coaching,
but it just falls on dumb luck.
Is it dumb luck though? I mean, at some point you have to be able to win the big one, and if you can't win the big one, there's an issue in the system of that team.
Yeah, especially when you can make it 4 times in a row. It's hard to make it 2 times in a row, let alone 4.
Yeah.
But maybe the Steelers will go the undefeated. Like I said, it's going to be interesting. It's hard to do that. Will it be interesting to see if they can do it? Yeah, it will. I know your wife is going to love it if they do. As well as some of my other friends that love the Steelers, they're going to be joyful that they, go all the way and win it if they can go have an undefeated season. Now, if they do that, let's just say theoretically they do. Will they say they're tied with the Dolphins as an undefeated season, or will they hold the Steelers top notch because of the amount of games? That's gonna be the interesting question, is how they're gonna actually play that.
Well, their last regular season game is going to be January 3rd. That's week 17. So if they go to week 17 undefeated, they're still going to have the playoffs to deal with. So if they win all the way through the playoffs and win the Super Bowl, they're going to be the new standard bearer for the NFL's undefeated streak.
So yeah, because the Dolphins only had 17 games,
Right.
And that's including playoffs.
Well, and you got to think there's more teams now.
Yeah.
So you have to count for that. But I mean, at this point, if the Steelers do it, they're going to be the new standard for the undefeated season.
Yeah. So, it's just one of those things to where, yeah, they're going to be matched up with the Dolphins. They're going to be compared to the Dolphins because of being the undefeated. But it's going to be interesting to see if they can do it.
And I actually think, I don't know if I'm quoting this wrong, but I think the members of that season still get together at the end of every season, or in the season when the last undefeated team is defeated.
Nice. Throw a party like, we're left.
Give me a second. I want to see if I can confirm that or not.
But still going that long, of even just anything in any sport, 17 games. 10 games, like we said earlier, is always hard to do.
Yeah, right.
So it's not like it's a easy thing. Now, Coach Shula, though, he definitely was a coach of the era for that.
You would have to be.
I think his son doesn't his son coach the Panthers?
I do not know. Hold on.
I have a feeling I want to say yes. But even then, just to keep coaching in the family is something always interesting, something always to have there.
He has a son who's a quarterback coach for the Broncos, and he has another son who is the wide receiving coach at Dartmouth.
I thought there was a Shula at one point that was with the Panthers. Like I said, I could be wrong.
The one who's the quarterback coach for the Broncos, it's Mike Shula. In 2011 to 2017, he was with the Panthers.
Gosh, that's probably what I was thinking. I thought he was the actual coach of them. Oh, thank God for Wikipedia.
Yep.
But like we said, this will be the question of will they do it? I know it's early of saying 10-0. A lot of Pittsburgh fans probably hating us because we're jinxing them. So, hate away. But hey, where is the Super Bowl held at this year?
I do not know.
I forget. I had it. It was this conversation I was talking earlier on with somebody, and I just can't remember where we said it was.
Raymond James Stadium in Florida, Tampa, Florida. So it's going to be where the Bucs play.
Where it's a hot spot.
Where isn't it at this point?
Yeah, right. Now the question is, now it would be interesting though, if it's where the Bucs play, wouldn't it be an interesting Super Bowl to have Brady and the Patriots play?
Maybe.
I think it'd be an interesting one just because it's like, I left you, I've gone somewhere better in his mind probably. But hey, now that actually gives a good segue into our next topic here. The surprising drafted, undrafted picks. And look who's at the top of that list right that we have. Tom Brady.
Well,
Now,
I've stated before that he's someone that obviously is unlikable for a variety of reasons.
yeah.
But you have to respect the work he had to put in to get to where he was. Because he was a late round draft pick. He had to earn his spot after Bledsoe went down with an injury.
Well, when you go 6th round, 199 pick, and then you come out with 6 Super Bowls coming that late,
a 20-year career,
that says a lot.
Right. You don't luck into that situation.
No, you have to prove yourself. You have to show that, hey, I'm here to stay. And he did.
And let's be honest, he's going to get judged for the season he's having with Tampa Bay. But he's 43 freaking years old. And this is only the second team he's ever played for.
Yeah, and he doesn't have his normal arsenal. He doesn't have his normal players that he had before. So it's not like he can rely, he knows the route, he's just learning the routes of everybody on top of not having a preseason to help learn these routes better in game situations. So he's just thrown into this and saying, good luck.
But Godwin and Evans, who would be his targets with the Bucs, aren't slouches by any means, though.
No, it's just like, when you're so used to having your normal people that you can close your eyes and throw a ball to and they're going to catch it, compared to you actually now have to look. Don't get me wrong, he has Gronk.
Yeah, but Gronk is a shell of his former self based on concussions.
Oh, yeah, he's had so many, he's been in and out how long? Numerous times.
He's not much to think about when it comes to being a tight end.
Now, I feel that Brady, once he actually does retire, first year of eligibility, he'll be in.
I would say that's a foregone conclusion because the career he's had.
Because not only they're going to look at his overall career, but they're also going to look at the scandals that he had. But
now, how many of the scandals that he?
With him, it's really the Deflategate.
Deflategate. I think a lot of the other
that's really
Pat scandals fall on
Belichick.
Yes.
Yeah. So the Deflategate, I think they're going to look at that. I think they're going to pass over that because it's just one thing, and he's won 6 Super Bowls from that. He's lost a couple, but he's won more than he's lost.
Right.
So when it comes to big game situations, he proved that he can show. Now, he did lose 2 to the Giants, 1 to the Eagles. But when you have 6 rings and you went 199, every team that passed you before, you can just say, hey, look what I got.
Right. And justifiably, obviously you'd like to – and I think he actually – for the grief he gets, I think he would probably be humbled by that situation. But he'd have every right to kind of be a prick about it.
Well, yeah, I would be. If I got passed up by so many teams, go 199, and then come out to win 6 Super Bowls, 4 Super Bowl MVPs out of that 6, yeah, I'm going to have chip my shoulder and say, ha, look what I have. Screw y'all.
And again, as I stated earlier, he earned it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you can complain about him all you want, but you got to respect the fact that he worked to get where he was.
Well, he has 6 Super Bowls, 4 MVPs, 3 NFL Most Valuable Players, 2 NFL Offensive Player of the Years, 3 first-team All-Pro, 2 second-team All-Pros, 14-time Pro Bowler.
Yeah, but no one cares about the Pro Bowl.
No, but it shows
the Pro Bowl is the most. It's the most useless all-star game in sports.
It is, but being that, hey, I'm nominated to go there, playing it's one thing, but just being nominated to be like, hey, I'm having a great season, here I am. Yeah, you are right. The All-Star game or the Pro Bowl game for the NFL is kind of, ridiculous. It's more like
I
I don't
mean,
know what you want to
if you
call it.
were to compare it to the NBA All-Star game and the NHL All-Star game or the MLB All-Star game and all the activities that surround it, the Pro Bowl is just no one watches it, no one cares.
Well, didn't this year they changed, or I should say last year they changed it to where you win money or something like the NHL turned to
Don't
for the
know
past few
because I don't
seasons?
watch.
True. I mean, because I know the NHL has done that where they turn into a 3-on-3 tournament and the winner gets, the team splits $1 million.
Yeah, I
But
honestly don't know.
I do like how they have it in baseball where the winning team gets home field advantage.
Right.
Well,
that
that
makes
is
it
kind of
worth
nice.
something.
Oh yeah. Because you get that ballpark that you love so much, and if it goes 7 games, you play in it for that 7.
In a few years, it's going to be in Philly.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Wow. Something we got to look into.
I want to
I think
say
that'd be fun.
2024, but
Still something we have to look into. I mean, well, with Brady with the Patriots, when you spend 19 seasons with one team, that does say a lot about you and how good you are. And plus,
2026.
Still we can look into it if we remember.
We should have a vaccine by then, so.
Maybe. Who else knows will come out with those killer hornets and everything? But hey. But yeah, with Brady just going to the Buccaneers, I think a lot of it's going to be they're going to look at this season. But to me, this season shouldn't really matter. Him going to the Hall of Fame, it shouldn't matter. If he has a horrible season, it shouldn't matter because of how well he did with the Patriots and all his accomplishments throughout. So who's next on the list that we want to look at?
Why don't you talk to us about Brett Hall?
Golden Brett. Yeah, Brett Hall. He was definitely a player that you didn't really expect to go far. That they passed out. Even Team Canada didn't want him. Yeah, Team Canada did not want him. They passed him up.
And when you look at the career he's had, it's crazy to think about that.
Yeah, and he ended up playing because I think his dad was Canada, his mom his dad was Canadian, his mom was American. So he decided then to move to Team USA, where not only that he played for 5 different teams: the Flames, the Blues, the Stars, the Wings, and ended with the Coyotes. But his draft was, he ended up going 117th overall.
Yeah,
and he was
6th round.
Yeah, and he was inducted in 2009 into the Hall of Fame. I mean, when you go that late and make it to the Hall of Fame, that says something.
Here's the thing. When I think of Brett Hall, I think of
wicked shot.
I think of St. Louis. When I think of St. Louis, I think of Brett Hall.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He is synonymous with that team. And that says a lot about the quality of player he was, that when you think of that team to this day, you're thinking of Brett Hall. And he hasn't played there since, 1998 was his last season there.
Yeah, he spent 10 years there. Then he moved to Dallas to where he won his first Stanley Cup in the controversial goal. But, yeah, I mean, when you go that, like I said, when you go that late in the draft and end up in the Hall of Fame with that type of career, to actually be in the Hall of Fame with your dad.
Right.
To say, hey, I'm in the Hall, I'm right next to my dad in the Hall of Fame. Now, there's not a lot of players that can say that. I mean, how much pressure do you think he had on him knowing his dad, when he was in the NHL playing for Chicago, the reputation he had, that he had the shoes he had to fill.
Right. And I think he more than lived up to that, clearly.
Oh, yeah. I mean, not only do you have the shoes you have to fill, but also going late in the draft like he did. So he was a long shot by a big margin. But to be able to, to do that, that does say a lot.
And here's a thing to think about, and it goes back with Brady. A lot of these guys get in the Hall of Fame because of their work ethic. Their work ethic is such that they're going to make sure that they are the best at what they do, if not one of the best at what they do. You're not going to get into the Hall of Fame on osmosis. You're going to get into the Hall of Fame because you hustled and you did everything you could to be a great player and to make your teams that much better.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, he has 2 Stanley Cups.
3-time All-Star.
Yep. So, I mean, he's definitely a player who was a long shot and paid off.
And think about think about this. In his final full season in the NHL, he played 81 games. Think about that. His final full season, he played 81 games. Now think of the wear and tear already on his body by that point.
Oh, yeah. And the fact that now he's had a tremendous career by far.
19 seasons.
Yep. So if you think about that, in 19 seasons, not only did he surpass his dad in goals, he is actually he is ranked 4th overall in goals. Because right now there's only 8 players in the NHL that are in the 700 club. And only one of those players are active. And that's Alexander Ovechkin, who is chasing Gretzky. So
that's another guy who's going to be a lock for the Hall of Fame.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay, yes, he has 1 Stanley Cup, but for his accomplishments, he's a lock, especially for going, he's a natural goal scorer. He's just a natural beast.
I don't think winning a championship is a prerequisite to get into a Hall of Fame, though.
No, but it does help going in. It does help to cement your legacy going into the Hall of Fame. It does it does help cement that.
Because I would say Ovechkin's a generational talent where it's going to be years before you get someone like that again.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're not going to see that type of talent for X amount of years now. But no, there's numerous of players that went to the Hall of Fame without a Stanley Cup. I mean, look at Pavel Bure. Look at who else? There's a number of players that went into the Hall of Fame without a Stanley Cup.
Well, you got to think about it. I mean, I think we've talked about Ray Bourque before. I think he would have went in had he not won a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, he would have went in. Oh, absolutely. Jarome Iginla went in without a Stanley Cup. So.
Poor Iginla.
Right. I think Paul Kariya went in without a Stanley Cup. So I just think it's a Stanley. I think winning a championship in general cements your legacy on accomplishments. Not only does what you have, what you've accomplished so far. Like, let's say for Brett Hull, 4th overall. Let's say he hasn't won a Stanley Cup with Dallas or Detroit. I think he still would have went in being 4th overall in goals. I still think he would have won. Now, winning a Stanley Cup or 2, I think cemented that as a great to go in. Now, let's say he doesn't win one. He may not go in 1st round or 2nd round. 1st or 2nd year eligibility. But I think winning a championship really says, okay, yep, you go. He's nominated 1st round.
Right.
I think it's one of those types of things. No, it's not required, but I think it gets you into where you're in there sooner than later. So, but no, I mean, when you can sit behind, now don't get me wrong, that's a lot. It's well over 100 goals, but when you can sit behind Wayne Gretzky in goals and being fourth behind him, I say that's quite an accomplishment.
I agree with that. Yeah,
because Wayne Gretzky's at 894 and Hull's at 741. So I mean, he's only 153 goals behind him. And the way he was, I mean, he could have probably, if he would have stayed in the NHL, I feel maybe 2-3 more seasons, maybe actually 3 or 4, he might have it. You know, he might have had him. So, but I think Ovechkin, he's going to come close, whether he hits it or not, depending on how healthy he stays with everything that goes on. I mean,
I think even now he's a lock. So,
oh, he's a lock for Hall of Fame, absolutely. But I'm just saying, catching Wayne, just catching Gretzky's record. It's going to take, will he be able to do it despite one, he's getting older and without playing? Because right now, we should be, a month into the NHL or just over a month into the NHL season right now. He should have had maybe a month left in last year's season to get that far, because all the goals that he scored during last year's let's say round robin didn't go towards this.
Right.
So he could have had more, but now, like I said, we should be just over a month in the season. He should have more, so he should be getting closer to Mike Gardner and closer to Brett Hull.
I think he still has plenty of time in his career yet where he can make a solid run. So,
if he doesn't get hurt,
well, that's going to be the X factor no matter what. So
yeah, but I mean, and so far he's gotten, knock on wood, lucky on all that to keep going. But like I said, with Brett Hull, he was just a hell of a player. He was hell of a shot. When you can do everything he's done and everything, all his years of accomplishments. But like you said, as soon as you think Brett Hull, you think St. Louis. And even when St. Louis won the Stanley Cup, where was Brett Hull? Right at the forefront. He was there celebrating.
His Twitter handle has blues in it. So, I mean.
Oh, yeah. So
he still cares very deeply about that team. And that's, again, says a lot about him as a person and a player.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's definitely one of those players who I think stays with an organization that really, shows a lot for a player. Like they cared for him, he cared back.
Right.
And that shows a lot. So that, yeah, I mean, I think either way, he definitely deserves to be where he's at for everything he's accomplished, despite Canada not even taking him.
Just like Oglethorpe.
Right. Slapshot.
That young man had a trying season, though.
Nope, can't go there because some of the comments we can't say. We definitely can't say how many of those comments, despite how clean we may think they are, they're not. But no, I think just because he, everything he's done filled the shoes that he did. He, he definitely, not only being a late draft pick, but I mean, hell, he didn't even play. He wasn't even drafted by St. Louis, and he cares about them more than the Flames. Well, the Flames drafted him in '84.
Right.
I mean, he went 117th. So, but I still find it funny, though, how Canada didn't even take him. So he went to U.S. and then sure enough beats him in the 96 World Cup of Hockey. Well, there actually is a documentary, and I forget what it's called on that alone. But it's definitely, definitely something to I mean, now in his Wikipedia saying his national team's U.S., despite it showing his dad's Canadian, his mother's U.S.
Right.
What's funny enough is his mother was a figure skater. According to his Wikipedia, his mother was an American professional figure skater and taught him how to skate.
And then he had some solid basics.
Yeah, that's definitely for sure. Definitely for sure.
Let's talk about a baseball player. And this baseball player was a 12-time All-Star, a 10-time Silver Slugger Award winner at catcher. And he just so happened to be drafted 1,390th overall in the Major League Baseball draft. Let's talk about Mike Piazza.
Yes, he's definitely a player that deserves to be where he sits right now.
And let me just get this out of the way. Apparently a very controversial figure that I was not aware of. So I made reference last episode to the Baseball Together podcast that I'm friends with those guys who host it, Brad and Brig. And I'm an admin of their 9+ Us VIP group. So we were doing before the season and during the season, we were doing polls and tournaments to see best baseball movie, best team, blah, 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 right? And the first one we did was most overrated player. The amount of anger towards Mike Piazza and the amount of people who thought he was overrated was just beyond me. Because to me, I think he's one of the greatest hitting catchers of all time, even though he was a Met. I will own I liked watching Mike Piazza play. But I never thought so many people thought he was overrated until I was in this group and all these people hated him.
No, I always thought he was like a liked player, one of those players who barreled down, and he had to work harder than a lot of other players because of where he ended up.
Right.
I mean, he went 1390 in the draft. I mean, don't get me wrong.
62nd round.
That's a lot of drafts. So now he played for the Dodgers, Mariners, Mets, Padres, and Athletics. And he ended his career, the last team he played on was the Athletics in 2007.
Yeah, he was a DH at that point. He was primarily a catcher. He dabbled in first base here and there, but when he was with Oakland, he was a DH, strictly there to hit the ball. He was Rookie of the Year. We already said he was a 12-time All-Star, 10-time Silver Slugger, and All-Star MVP. He's going back to what we were talking about with the hockey one. He's a guy who didn't win a championship, but he's in the Hall of Fame. And he has to, I think statistically, he had the case to be a Hall of Famer. Now, he didn't go in until his fourth ballot. But when he finally did go in, he had 86% of the vote.
I'm showing 82.95%.
83%.
Did you have to take your shoes off to count?
Yep.
No, he definitely, I mean, going that late in the draft and then being a Hall of Famer, I mean, it's hard enough to go from going from real late in the draft or even, let's say, in the minors to make it to the MLB, to make it to the big show. So it's even hard to do that, but now going this late and then making it to the Hall of Fame, I mean, he did it.
Yeah, and he always backed it up as a player. I mean, you don't get into the Hall of Fame being a crappy catcher. A catcher is a demanding position.
And it's definitely a position to where a catcher's lifespan is not long.
No. And the fact that he had a 16-year career is impressive for a catcher when the only season he didn't play catcher was his final season in Oakland as a DH.
Yeah. So, I mean, he definitely showed that he deserves to be there. That's for sure.
No, absolutely. And I'm not going to say he was a great defensive catcher by any means, but he was a great player. And then, I think probably one of his biggest moments was when him and Clemens got into it. Because, Roger Clemens isn't a freaking head case.
Right?
Sorry. I don't like Roger Clemens.
I couldn't tell.
I just have issues with people who freaking throw at their kids in a father-son game.
Yeah, that's messed up. Well, wasn't it Clemens that threw a bat at...
He threw the bat at Piazza. The bat broke and he threw it at Piazza.
Yeah, and the bat just broke. It's not like he purposely...
right.
Like Piazza threw the bat at him, the bat just broke, and the barrel
It
just
wasn't like he broke it over his knee like Bo Jackson did, and
then just chucked it at him. He took a swing, hit the ball, and the bat just broke, which happens from time to time.
Again, Clemens is a head case and a juicer, so I hope he never gets into the Hall of Fame.
Well, he's a juicer, so that's not going to happen.
Okay. Now, I will say, the Baseball Hall of Fame, the people who vote for the Baseball Hall of Fame are really, they're strict compared to other Hall of Fames. The fact that Piazza was a fourth ballot, I'm not saying he should have been a first ballot by any means, but second ballot, yeah, I think that would be reasonable. Fourth ballot is a little unbelievable at that point.
Yeah, but hey, he made it.
No, and I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, he was great.
At least he wasn't like. I mean, did Piazza spend time in the minors, or like down deep past?
No, I think he outright started in the National League.
Yeah, because his first debut was in '92 with the Dodgers. And funny enough, he's from good old Pennsylvania.
Yeah, he grew up a Mike Schmidt fan.
Good old Norristown, PA. Yeah, because well, like we discussed, when you're that that drafted late, I mean, who knows where you're going to end up? You could end up to where you're down when we went to that Hagerstown game. You could end up down there,
right?
For all you know.
So think about this. He hit 427 home runs, and his on-base percentage was just under a perfect percentage, 0.922 on-base percentage. So he was hitting base almost over 90% of the time.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
I mean, how often do you even see that? I mean, even your great players.
How often do you see that in a guy built like that?
You really don't. And you have these home run hitters who can't even do that. So, I mean, even being a catcher, I mean, just shocked that he went that many seasons without having, being tossed out of that position just because of, being the catcher.
It says a lot about his conditioning. Now, his defense did improve over time. He, again, like we said about Hall and we said about Brady, he worked hard and he hustled constantly.
Oh, yeah. Well, that does get you far if you hustle and work hard. I mean, that gets you far. I mean, look when we went down to Hagerstown to that game. We got the bobbleheads.
Yeah.
What was his name? Mike. Oh, why do I always draw a blank here?
Played for the Yankees. Messina.
Yes.
Put me on the spot there.
Oh, that's what are friends for?
From Williamsport.
He made the Hall of Fame. And he went in 6 ballots.
18 seasons.
And he went down to the Hagerstown Suns. That wasn't, that basically what they pay to play at that point.
No. Hagerstown as of now, Hagerstown is still affiliated ball, so it's not pay for play. It's the lower you get in independent baseball, it's pay for play. So you're talking about like the Pecos leagues or the Empire League. Those guys are literally just paying to play some type of professional ball hoping that a scout would look out to them. He was already signed to play. He was already signed by a major league team that led to him playing in Hagerstown. That's a bit of a different thing.
Yeah, but still, though, you go that deep, you go that far, because isn't Hagerstown like half a season?
Hagerstown is short season single A,
Yeah.
but all those guys that are playing in Hagerstown, they're with right now. They're with the Nats. When Messina played for them, they were with the O's. So those guys are playing affiliated ball for a minor league team that's part of a parent club with a major league team. It's when you get into independent ball that you run into those situations of pay for play.
But still, though, you know, you're down that far. Who knows if you're going to make it up?
Right. You don't know.
You know, and that's the thing, though. Piazza, you know, even with Mike here, he didn't really, you know, he worked his way up through. And Piazza, being a late draft as he was, he showed that he deserves to stay there.
Exactly.
So it's not like he was just saying, "Oh, here you go. He's the greatest player in the world. Let's keep him there." If he was, he would have went first.
Right.
You know, but going 1390 and still making the Hall of Fame, that says a lot. That says a lot. But yeah, it's definitely it's just weird how the drafts are always like with baseball, they're always like a lot of picks.
Yeah.
I mean, when, you know, as soon as I saw that pick, like where he went, then when he went 13-9, it's like, holy crap, how many rounds were there?
I'm going to say this because I know Brad from the Baseball Together podcast listens. I think we need to reevaluate the overrated status of Mike Piazza. I was already of the thought he was not overrated, but I think we need to look into his 1390 overall draft pick.
There you go. You have a good argument there.
No, I would say that they are friends of our podcast. So,
I mean, I don't think Piazza is overrated just because he accomplished a lot for how hard he had to work to keep to where he had to be.
All right.
You know, to keep where he had to be and be where he's at. Because think about it, you go 1390, who's going to expect you to stay up in the pros? Who's going to give you the opportunity to, to play said position, whether it be catcher, right field, pitcher, second base, whatever position, to go that late in the draft. What you have to prove yourself to be like, hey, listen, I'm here. I'm going to prove to you that I should be here. And I feel he did. You know, just because one, he's in the Hall of Fame to begin with. Now he doesn't have a championship, but
yeah, definite Hall of Famer, even though he didn't have a championship. So with that, let's talk about the holiday season coming up for our third period. Let's talk about some sports.
Yay,
Christmas.
Yay, Christmas. Yay. Santa's coming to town. Elf on the Shelf.
So you shared with me a pretty cool listing of sports gifts from menshealth.com.
There was some interesting stuff, wasn't there?
There was. So I figured we could talk about maybe a couple of things we saw in there, and then we each talk about a gift or two that maybe isn't something we can feasibly get, but something we would totally like. So I'll lead off since I'm talking.
Sure, why not? Go ahead.
So one of the things I liked on the Men's Health article, and I will share the link on the Facebook page for those of you listening at home, I liked the history of the baseball framed picture. Because I'm such a baseball nerd, I liked how that looks. I liked how it had the ball from the dead ball era all the way to the modern type of baseball. And all the changes from the 1800s to now. I thought that was a really cool picture. And baseball is such a history-oriented sport that obviously a baseball fan like me is going to love something like that.
Well, you should get the baseball cufflinks.
When am I going to wear cufflinks?
I don't know. It just sounded good, I guess. You don't dress up?
Not that I'm working from home now, no.
You should do that just to mess with your wife.
No.
You should dress up, be like, where are you going, work?
That is too much work to dress up to work from home.
Too much work, too much work to work.
Yeah.
One of the things that I found interesting was it's just a lot of things you can do with just hockey sticks, cut them up to make, let's say, the hockey stick barbecue set.
I saw that and I thought of you instantly.
You have the tongs, the spatula, of course, my favorite, the bottle opener, which I actually have that blue bottle opener. That's the butt end of a hockey stick.
Nice.
I do have that. So, but I do feel like that's definitely one that, I mean, I don't know, for something like that, would I want to use it just because of what it is?
Well, okay, so you're a pretty crafty guy. What's to stop you, because you play hockey, what's to stop you from
making it?
Yeah.
I've thought of it. I thought of it from all my broken sticks that I have collected over the years.
But by all means, I don't think it's an expensive gift by any means, but that's something that you yourself could probably make and save some money.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's all depending on what you want to make it out of. I mean, all my sticks I have are wood. That's how far back that goes. You're sitting there cooking. Next thing you know, your spatula's on fire.
Happens to the best of us.
Right? Where are your eyebrows? What eyebrows? But yeah, it's. I think it's a neat one. I mean, for $45, it's a 4-piece set. Definitely for the griller in your life, would love that.
So another one I saw on here that I really liked, and it's because, as you know, I'm a bit of a stadium and ballpark nerd. I like the architecture around them and so forth. I liked the 3D stadium picture frame.
Yeah, that is neat. And for $30, that's not bad.
No, not at all. And I love the top-down view of it and how it looks like you're looking down on the stadium and you're seeing the tiered levels in three-dimensional view. I think that's really cool.
No, it's definitely interesting to see, like, what, like the different stadiums out there, like how they would actually do that, because as we all know, each one's definitely unique. Now, from what I saw on the list, though, not all teams are in there.
No, I don't think they all are, but that's something I'm running into with FOCO. They do licensed team memorabilia, and they do puzzles, 3D puzzles, and they do stadium and arena puzzles, and not every team is represented with those.
Yeah, because I know they don't have the Phillies in there, so I was just looking at it.
Well, that's also possible the Phillies sold out too.
True, because that would be definitely something to buy. You go to a game with your family, you can buy one of those. Print out a picture and put it in there for it.
Right.
Now, when I saw that, I'm not sure who would play with it more, me or the kids, was a Playful Sports mug. I'm not sure if you saw that one. I think it's right underneath. It's a couple down from the 3D stadium. It's basically a bowl with a hoop.
Oh yes, I saw that.
I'd be sitting there playing with my food all the time. You know I would.
That's when you got to have like some kicks or like a round.
They have Captain Crunch there. They have the Captain Crunch berry for the picture.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I can see you actually with the spoon flicking the Captain Crunch into the hoop.
Stop playing with their food, but why? Don't play with their food. No.
So yeah, I think this is a pretty cool list of things. And I like that on this list the prices range from like $18 to like 200 some. It gives you like a pretty, it's not just all high end stuff. You know what I
No,
mean? It's
it's
stuff
all
that's affordable too.
now. I'm not sure if you saw the baseball park map pint glasses. Have you seen those?
I did see them. So the reason I didn't really think about them as something that I would like is because it goes back to the, like, I like the dugout mugs, but they look so nice. I don't want to, you know what I mean? I don't want to ruin it.
Yeah. I just didn't know if you saw them because I have them up right now, and it just shows the map of basically not only Citizen Bank Park, but the surrounding like roads and things like that.
Right.
Like almost like an zoomed out view.
Well, for Citizens Bank Park, it's going to be the parking lot and the Spectrum and, or what was once the Spectrum and Lincoln
Yeah,
Financial.
now it's Xfinity Live. You know, it's definitely a lot of interesting ideas.
So, what is a gift that you'd like to have that maybe isn't totally feasible to get right now?
That's feasible to get, or
Feasible
did you?
or uh well, you have two down, so why don't you just talk about them and then I'll do my two. And
Well, the two that I have is the one that is feasible to get is from dugoutmugs.com. Basically, this site is you can get the barrel of bat with your favorite team on it. We got shot glasses with the Phillies on it. So we already purchased from them, and the way they look is fantastic. You know, I have no complaints on how they look. They hold, but a lot of it though you can customize what you actually want. I saw pictures on their website that you could actually get a picture that you give them, and they put on, which I think that's pretty cool. You know, get a picture of your kids, put it on a baseball bat for a mug, even if you don't drink from it, just to have as a showpiece.
right.
I don't think that's too far off, and I think they're really neat to even see. I think I saw them for about $50, which I don't think that's bad for a customized uh, item.
No, not at all. So I have, obviously we have the shot glasses, and my mother-in-law actually got me a Phillies dugout mug for my birthday this year. And like you said, it's definitely a conversation piece. It's something that, one, I appreciate it so much, and two, it looks so nice. I almost don't want to use it because it looks so good. I mean, because the
Yeah.
detail they put into it is amazing.
Oh yeah, it's definitely detailed. I mean, it's not like it's something that's cheap. You know, it's not something that's like cheaply done. It's a nice item to have.
And so the one she got me is it's the Phillies logo, but it's the classic Phillies logo from the 80s with the not the skyline, but you have the picture of City Hall in the background.
They also have wine mugs as well. Oh no, that's the logo to see.
Yeah.
But for those of you wine drinkers out there, they have personal mugs that looks like bats. So there you go.
So what's your not quite feasible gift that you would like?
Bobblehead, a customized bobblehead. Because according to bobbleheads.com, you can get basically yourself put on a bobblehead. And it can be very pricey. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a bobblehead, so it's kind of expected.
So let me ask a follow-up question to you. With this customized bobblehead, can you customize your jersey on it?
From what I'm looking at here, you can do full custom head and body bobblehead for $145.
All right. So
you can also get your dog too.
Follow-up question. Would it be...
do you want to get one for your wife as well?
No. So would you have your customized bobblehead in your Team Hooters jersey or your Monte Carlo jersey?
Probably my Hooters. Probably my Hooters. Now, for those who don't know, when I played hockey,
played for Hooters. That's
exactly. I played for Hooters, and the jersey was an Al Holden hockey stick with Hooters right across it in the old style Flyers third
logo.
Jersey. I mean, it's. I'll have to take a picture of it, and we can put it on the Facebook page of it. But no, I would definitely, if I had to get one, I would definitely do that one, just because of what it was. I mean, that's probably one of my favorite jerseys, just because of not only its Hooters, but just the way it looked.
Yeah, it was a great logo.
But yeah, now that's one of the ones where if I do the bobblehead, I would definitely want to get it customized. Now, if you really want to win brownie points with your wife, you can actually get to where you can take a picture from your wedding and make a bobblehead out of it.
I don't think she'd want that.
Yeah, but if you have a sports wife, like a big sports wife, you might want to for a $254 or $254.95.
That's okay.
But no, it is neat. It's definitely a conversation piece. But yeah, the price is just, in my opinion, which some people it's not a bad price, but in my opinion, yeah,
it's a bit salty,
just a tad. Which they do have a lot of different. They have Walking Dead ones. They have historical bobbleheads like Albert Einstein, if you want to go that route. So there's a lot of choices on that site. So what are your picks?
So my realistic one, and just because I've seen the prices on eBay, would be a John Kruk autograph ball.
That'd be something to have.
Kruk's always been one of my favorite Phillies, ever since I was a kid. I love him now as a play-by-play guy.
He's hilarious as a play-by-play guy.
Maybe not the player a kid should want to emulate, but he was always one of my favorite Phillies. He was, for a big guy, he hustled. He always had a sense of humor when he played. Just one of my favorite players of all time, and his autograph isn't crazy expensive, so.
No, that's definitely something to have. That definitely would be. Because then we raced down to Philly that one time for what was it, a practice jersey?
It was a John Kruk practice jersey giveaway because they were honoring the 93 team. It was Father's Day. It was their Father's Day weekend game. We went.
Yeah. That was a fun game.
Yeah, we had a good time.
Oh, it was fun. Definitely fun, especially when it rained.
I can't tell you how many times I've been to games there and it rained and they didn't call the game and I sat in the rain. So it doesn't bother me one bit.
Either way, it was fun.
But so my unrealistic one, and it can be very, very unrealistic and it can be slightly realistic depending on the quality of it, would be a red logo classic WWF Intercontinental title replica. And I'm going to show you a picture of the one I'm talking about.
Okay.
So the reason specifically for the red logo one is because that's the one that Randy Savage had. And obviously that's my all-time favorite pro wrestler. And I think some of the people listening know that as well. If especially coworkers who've seen my desk and seen all the Randy Savage paraphernalia mixed in with the baseball paraphernalia. No, I've mentioned a number of times on this podcast before, I'm a big wrestling fan. Now, a legit like handmade replica from the belt maker who made it is $1,500. But I can get a bootleg version of it on eBay on thinner plates for like 145 at the most. So
yeah, well, could you appreciate something like that though?
Yes.
If it's made like that low?
The biggest difference is that it's probably going to be on. Okay, so I'm a big belt nerd.
No.
The biggest difference would be it's not going to be gold-plated nickel. It would be a brass plate. So it's going to be cheaper material. The weight it would still be weight-wise comparable. Just the plate, the type of metal used wouldn't be the same. But we'll see. I mean, it's something that I don't know if I'm going to ever get, but it's definitely something that, you can dream about.
Well, we all can dream,
But, yeah, those are my two. So, hit us up on Facebook or message us like we always say to you guys. Let us know what your realistic sports Christmas gift and your unrealistic sports Christmas gift is.
Yeah, because there's always something interesting that we might have missed that is interesting to have, interesting to see. Because there's always a bunch of things out there to look at. So yeah, I mean, if you could find something, please let us know. Just because we're always interested to see what's out there, and what can what you can find. Now, looking through the mug stove, going through the dugout modes, I was looking further into it. I am not finding where you can do the pictures.
Oh.
And I saw it before, and a guy that I work with, I showed it to him, and he's like, "That'd be pretty cool to have." And he was looking at the same picture I was, but now I'm not seeing it on their website. That's disappointing. I wonder if they changed it, or
I wonder if the production just wasn't there.
But if you go on though, you can do, like, let's say if we want to put our logo on a bat.
Right, I see that.
Yeah. So I wonder if you can do the same thing.
But here's something cool. You could do a handwritten one, so you could have the girls.
Yeah.
You could have them write their names or something and have that. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be definitely, nice to have. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, if you guys out there have like something like an interesting sports gift that is neat to have, or even just to look at, please let us know. Put it up on Facebook, message us, something. Just let us know.
Yeah.
This way we can look at it, and hell, we might even get it if it's feasible.
Well, that was fun.
That was a lot of interesting gifts.
This was just a fun episode in general. I really liked the Hall of Fame talk. I thought that was enjoyable, and I think a lot of people listening will enjoy it.
And how many people will upset because we didn't add NBA to the mix?
Like we had talked about before, the NBA doesn't really have a long
big draft pick,
right?
2 rounds, 60 picks. So
it's kind of hard to have a late draft pick when you only have 2 rounds.
Yeah.
But with that, thank you for joining us here on episode 8 of the Not Another Sports podcast. You can find us online at facebook.com/notanothersportspod. Please feel free to like, comment, interact with us on the Facebook page. That's what it's there for. The Not Another Sports podcast is available for streaming or download at anchor.fm, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, and wherever else you get or steal your podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. With that, I'm Jason.
I'm David.
We'll talk to you next time.
Have a good one.
You have been listening to the Not Another Sports podcast. Thank you for your listenership.